Collapse central in the financial capital. India collapsed first on day two, then New Zealand have collapsed even further to leave us facing a very exciting finish of the test on day three. On ESPN Cricinfo Match Day, Sanjay Manjrekar joins us. And Sanjay, while usually we refer to day three as the moving day, when a test match is ending in 3 days, day two becomes the moving day by the same calculation. Which way is the needle pointing at the end of this one?
Yeah, the way Test cricket is going these days, day one also has on occasions been a moving day. And when you talked about collapse in Mumbai City, I'm more concerned about the Sensex collapse. I hope that has not happened because that would put all of us in trouble. This is just getting Indian cricket in trouble. But jokes apart, uh, well, I can say one thing that the test match is nicely poised, and a lot of people would think, this is too much to score because of the way the pitches look. But I believe that it's a very, very chaseable target, and for the reasons that we'll talk about very soon.
Yeah, it looks like, barring something extraordinary from the 10th wicket partnership, India will have a target in the 150 range, Sanjay. That they have kept New Zealand down to this or up to this based on perspective. Came to the old firm who reunited for the first time in this series. Jadeja had done his bit in the first innings, but for the first time in this series, Jadeja and Ashwin in the wickets together. And usually when that happens, India tend to have the upper hand.
Yes, and Jadeja bowled superbly in the first innings as well. In the second innings, I think Ashwin was a little fortunate because New Zealand came with the mindset of wanting to score quickly. They were willing to take risks, epitomized by the way Ravindra played and the way he got out. So when somebody's attacking Ashwin on a turning page, that is just great fodder for him to feed on, and that is how he helped himself to a few wickets. That comeback against Glenn Phillips is something that Ashwin is a master of, because let's not forget he plays T20 domestic cricket, which is the IPL. So yeah, things were just right. I thought the New Zealand approach uh, wasn't, maybe they overreacted to how the pitch is seeming at the moment, and we'll see how India bats on it. And in hindsight, maybe New Zealand could feel that they could have trusted the pitch a little more and hung in there longer. But yes, great to see the union come back in, especially for Ashwin, and that catch as well. Just feel happy for him that finally, he had many reasons to smile. And I just hope that there's still plenty left in that tank of Ramchandran Ashwin. Yeah, there were some good balls that we saw today from the spell that he bowled.
Yeah, we don't know the schedule of India's next home season yet, so it could yet be a while till we see Jadeja and Ashwin together the next time for
Hmm.
India. Speculate on that later. But let's talk about the New Zealand batting. One batter clearly much more comfortable than not just the rest of his teammates, but if you look at Will Young now, who only got a role in this series because Kane Williamson was absent, he's perhaps looked the most certain batter facing spin.
Yes, and when you look at his brief test record, you see that he's got runs, not maybe big hundreds. I don't think he's got 100 yet. Could be wrong, but he's done his bit in against Sri Lanka, against Bangladesh. So he's somebody that New Zealand prefer when there is going to be a supply of spin from the opposition. And the most appealing bit about Will Young is the fact that of both sides, in India and New Zealand, he seemed to be a batter who was trusting his defense. He looked assured in defense, and the attack came as the next step rather than a sort of a way to get out because he didn't trust his defense, which is happening to a lot of batters, Indian batters included. And that you've got to applaud, and that he was willing to also play off the back foot, along with having the big game, the reverse sweep and everything. Somebody who plays so much off the back foot, like Kane Williamson would have done had he played in these test matches, that's a very heartening sign and very impressive aspect of his batting.
So when you see all that which is standing out in Will Young's game, if you were speaking to the younger Indian batters, what is it that they could take from his game when it comes to being surer facing spin?
Well, if I mentioned that, I don't know whether I mentioned that on this platform or on a tweet, but out of the six, main batters, I didn't include the way Mohammed Siraj got out the evening on day one. But most of the Indian batters, barring Rishabh Pant, got out on the front foot. And especially at the Wankhede Stadium, where you can trust the slowness of the pitch and the bounce as well. One or two balls kept a little low, but nothing's going to shoot along the ground, nor you will see balls skidding off the pitch. You won't see cracks on a Wankhede Stadium pitch. It just disintegrates, and the whole pitch sort of becomes a rough that bowlers normally aim into that rough. The whole pitch becomes a rough, and the Indian batters should try and maybe play on the odd occasion, try and get onto the back foot, because the slowness of the turn will allow them to score runs off the back foot if they can do it. And the other advantage that India have as we come to the end of this test match is there won't be too many straight balls, because the whole pitch is rough. Very difficult to bowl a quick delivery straight, because it's going to grip into that rough and still turn. Jadeja could be the only bowler who could do it. Ajaz Patel will struggle to bowl that straight ball. Glenn Phillips, if he bowls it seam up, yes, but it's not one of those pitches where the natural variation comes in. Here there's only one natural variation, which is turn.
All right, let's focus on the Indian batting, which was the bigger part of day two. And by the standards of this series, it was a better batting day for India. Primarily two names: Shubman Gill with 90, Rishabh Pant with 60. How impressed were you by both of their batting performances?
Just every time you see Rishabh Pant, you can see why he's so special, why India needs him, and why he's so dangerous for the opposition. The way he started off today against Ajaz Patel was incredible, and that's something that he does, I think, out of instinct. I was especially watching him very closely to see whether there is any premeditation involved. I don't think there is. And on occasions when he's got out on defense, I could be wrong, but my feeling is just watching him back that he's thinking, he's got this angular backlip and he's mostly thinking to, score runs. Here, go for the maximum. If that's not possible, he'll look to pick up 4 runs. If that's not possible, hit hard along the ground. And defending a ball is like the last, fourth or fifth sort of option for him, or fifth resort. And by the time the ball comes where he's got to defend it, I just feel that he defends a bit reluctantly. If he We've seen one side of Pant. If he goes in thinking that, I'm just going to play out the next 40 minutes, he's got a solid defense. But in this series, you can see that that defense is a very reluctant one. And that's why maybe he's not been as solid as you would like. But exceptional batting. Shubman Gill, I can say one thing, a guy who's a gifted white ball player. He's a rising star. He's a big IPL brand as well, that he cares for Test cricket and wants Test match success was seen again in the way he played. Still work to do with confidence against left arm spin, but he just wanted to hang in there. The big game is always with him, but in between all that, it was just grit. And I just wonder, with his father hovering over him, whether he's got no other choice but to respect Test cricket. And it's great to see people like Shubman Gill, the sort of big stars of today's generation caring about Test cricket.
The third highest contribution in India's first innings, Sanjay, came lower down the order from Washington Sundar. These are the kind of knocks which tend to make quite an impact in low scoring tests. And as far as Washington's case is concerned, he's making it more and more compelling with every innings, both ball and bat.
And it's something to do, Yash. I was watching him bat. He's done that before as well. He's got a good, first class recent form. He's got some useful runs at the test level away from India and Australia. There were occasions when he was sent up the order in the IPL as well. And something that is pretty unique to Tamil Nadu, where you see a lot of the spinners that have played for India have this gift of batting. Ashwin is one. But over the years, there was a W.V. Raman who came in as a pure left-arm spinner and then started opening the batting for India. There was Sriram, who's now the bowling coach of various foreign teams, who ended up being a pure batter, starting off as a left-arm spinner. So just amazing how much talent, these guys coming from Tamil Nadu have. And that is going to make Ashwin's life a little difficult, although he had a good day today. When you're looking at the sort of contest between the two for that off spinner spot in Australia, the way Washi is batting and his bowling style, he might just get the nod ahead of Ashwin, despite Ashwin's return to form.
And finally, the other notable contributor on this day, the man who loves this ground more than any other in the world, Ajaz Patel, 10 for last time, 5 for this time. And you'd imagine, Sanjay, a huge role to play on day 3 to decide the eventual course of this test.
Yes, Mitchell Santner not playing is a huge, huge blow. This was a pitch again, which was just right for him. He would have done what Jadeja has done in this test match. So without Mitchell Santner, New Zealand spin attack is not quite the same because now you've got Rachin as the third spinner. And maybe that will just come out, come into the equation when India is chasing that target on the final day. I mean, Ajaz Patel has done superbly. He's got most things right. Maybe not the ideal pitch for him. You need a guy who's quicker than him and, pinpoint accurate. But boy, he bowled wonderfully. But on the final day, when the target is about 160, can Ajaz Patel win the game on his own? Now, that will be the real test. It's an unfair way to judge a bowler because you need more than one guy. But maybe New Zealand might just feel that wish they had Mitchell Santa. I'm just sort of preempting that India chased the target. And let's see how it goes. Haven't been I've been proved wrong on many occasions. Let's see what happens this time.
As far as this series goes, this is actually a rare case where we can get into a predictive zone because this one's been such one-way traffic. We've not found lots of situations where I can ask you what is going to happen on this day. So now a target in the range of 150. Let me ask you, India or New Zealand, who's likely to win?
I think India will win. And I hope there's somebody in there, and hopefully it's Gautam Gambhir and Rohit himself who's played on this pitch. This pitch is manageable if you play in a certain way, honestly. And if it's 150, 160, it's a perfectly chaseable score.
All right. India had one stalwart pair, put them in the advantage on day 2. Maybe the other two can take inspiration and get some runs.
You mean Rohit and Virat?
Yeah, I mean, there are two stalwarts with the ball, yes, two with the bat. I'm not really leaving anything up to doubt. But let's see what happens on day 3. Thank you so much, Sanjay, for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.